After living in New Zealand for so long, we've always defended the Kiwis and said, oh, no, the Kiwis are so laid back, they wouldn't cause trouble. Oh, no, they just go with the flow to the Kiwis. But this week, we found out something that just put that straight out the water.
The guy gets up and he starts shouting, get back in your seats now. And no one moved.
Yeah.
All the Kiwis just stood there saying nothing. And I could hear this British woman kicking off at the front saying, don't tell us to get back. We've got to...
In this week's episode, we're going to share with you a story that will show Kiwis in a completely different light, especially when they're travelling and especially when it comes to money. So let's jump on in and find out what that story is. It's a Drama, coming to you from Taranaki, New Zealand.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him!
Mother thanks you.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
We're back this week in New Zealand, back home in New Zealand. We've been to Thailand for a month and we have returned. And here we are. We're sitting in our garden. If you're not watching this on video, we're sitting in our garden and it is spring and it is beautiful. And I tell you what, we've got some stories for you, haven't we, Brian?
Just a few.
Hey?
Yeah.
We couldn't wait to get back in here and just say, get that camera on now, get this microphone out, and let's just start and tell them exactly what's happened.
Sometimes a journey is a journey, isn't it? You know?
It is, Brian, yeah.
A real
It
journey.
Is that your own quote or?
Yeah, I was just thinking that when you said it. I was thinking, that journey home was like, that was a journey, wasn't it?
See, that's the thing with you, Brian. I just
What?
think that you're sitting there not paying any attention and just doing nothing, just waiting. But actually, you're just sitting there being really philosophical.
I know.
You always
got
come out
nothing
with
else
the
to do
best
when you're
stuff.
talking.
A journey is just a journey.
Journey. Sometimes a journey is a journey. Quoted by me.
We wanted to tell you the story of coming home to New Zealand. So just to put you in the picture, in case you haven't listened to the previous podcast, we went over to Thailand to have our teeth done. We needed some dental work and we wanted to combine it with a holiday because it was cheaper to get dental work done over there and have a month's holiday and just combine it all. Just listen to the previous two podcasts if you want to know more about getting dental work done in New Zealand, in Thailand.
Yeah.
But we were also super stressed and in need of a break. So you just need to know that because when we went over to Thailand, as the weeks went by, I could just feel myself getting more and more relaxed. Could you, Brian?
Yeah, because it's been a tough year and we didn't want to go at first. And then it was like, yes, we're going to go. But we just said we'll give ourselves a couple of weeks off because we normally always work all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
And like you say, you could feel it, you could see it in each other's faces. It was just, yeah.
Yeah, just starting. It's
Yeah.
bliss when you go on holiday, isn't it? It really is. But I don't know if you find this, but when you come back off holiday, you kind of need a holiday to
get over.
Yeah, to get over coming back off the holiday.
Especially with a long journey home.
But anyway, the reason I wanted to tell you that, the reason I wanted to remind you of that feeling of stress is because that all plays into the story that I'm about to share about some Kiwis on an aeroplane coming home from Thailand.
Bit unusual, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit unusual. First of all, before I jump into the story, are you glad to be back, Bri? Tell the truth.
No, I think we could have done with a couple of extra weeks.
But isn't that always the case?
I know it is, but not you know. It's. I just think if you have 2 weeks, it's nowhere near enough. It can be, but the second week you start to think, I've only got a week left, and it's time to go home. Where if you do get that extra time, and I know not everyone can do it, but this is something. I was in a job. That yes, you couldn't do that sort of stuff. Like it's written in your travel book actually, Liz. 10 measly days, and which equated to 2 weeks off, didn't it? Really, as in work days, and so doing this now to be able to take a month out. It's not a month off; it's a month out. Isn't it?
Just working somewhere else in the world for a month.
Which is great. And so, because we can work from Thailand now. Never used to be able to 10 years ago.
Did you answer the question?
Yeah, I think I did.
What?
Yeah, no. Could have done with an extra 2 weeks, Liz.
Fine, thank you.
There we go.
Right, so we go to Thailand. Me and you are so opposite. Do you know that? Because when I start to talk, I panic inside thinking, I'm going on too long. Hurry up, finish. Hurry up and say your sentence. People are bored.
I know, but
and you've got the opposite of like
just bumble away.
Once
you know.
It's like if you compared us to two rivers, I'm like that fast little, stream just running down, and you're that big, lovely, calm lake who's just meandering
taking it easy
through and just going through the reeds and all that. Anyway, so we go to Thailand. We are getting to the point. I am going to tell you the story. We go to Thailand and feeling super stressed, and as the weeks go by, start to feel less and less stressed. Now, I just want to share with you something, because this is important, something that I have done for a long time. I lost my mum 4 months ago, and like Bryce said, we've had a horrible year, actually. Not all horrible, but a tough year. And as a result of that, I've really struggled sleeping. As you do. That's the first thing to go, isn't it? When you...
Yes, and you need it the most.
Yeah, it is. It's a horrible vicious circle, isn't it? Because, anyway. So... And one of the things that I do when I wake up in the middle of the night, and I know this is going to sound a bit weird and it is a bit personal. Well, not that personal, but I'm not going to be too graphic. But one of the things that I do when I wake up in the middle of the night is tap Brian on the shoulder.
Whack me in the head with the elbow.
is have this, I've got this thing where to get myself back to sleep, I visualise, I play out in my mind being on an aeroplane, and it's really uncomfy and it's packed. And we're sitting like this, upright, me and Brian, and I can't get to sleep. And the telly is right in front of my nose. And the person next to me is just big and snoring and just won't let me move. And Brian is watching videos and not talking to me. And I can't sleep. And then I imagine, this is my imagination, when I'm laying there at 3 o'clock in the morning, that an air steward comes to the end of our aisle, kneels down and says to me and you, actually, she says it to me over you. Yeah. Excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Deacle, would you like to be moved to first class?
No, not me, mate.
And I say, oh, yes, please. And we get up, and this is all in my imagination, and we get our bags and we stand up, we put our shoes back on and we get tidy our little things up. We get our bags and she says, come this way. And we follow it's a woman, and we follow the woman, and she takes us through this little blue curtain and says, there you go, there's your beds. And there's 2 beds side by side.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something?
No, not at all.
And there's 2 beds side by side. And we get into the bed and she says, good night, sleep well. And I, through the crack of the curtain, I look through and I can just see all the other plebs just sitting there still.
Nice plebs.
Still not being able to get to sleep. But I am in this blissful state of, oh, look at you now, Liz. You're in first class. You can sleep. And it works every single time. I'm not joking. Within 20 minutes of that visualization, I am asleep.
having a kip.
Anyway, guess what happens?
Not quite, but...
It's not quite, but I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it. So now you know that that's my thing. And I've told you that story loads of times.
No, you've told me umpteen times that it works for you.
It
just
does.
visualization all of a sudden. Yeah.
Yeah, it really works. Anyway, we fly to Bangkok from Chiang Mai, and we're going from Bangkok to China, and then China to New Zealand. That was our flights home. Yeah. We get to Bangkok and we start getting on the plane. We checked in, didn't we, Bri? And she gave us our tickets.
Yep. And she was ever so nice, that lady. She just was all calm and just did all the stuff and put your bags up and
behind the desk.
Off it goes. And because we were connecting flights, she put priority thing on the thing, so it can be moved.
Yeah.
Priority on the luggage label, a big yellow and red label, wasn't it? And that was it was just like, okay, I know your seats.
Yeah, and we just thought, and I said to her, make sure that we're sitting together, because on the way over here we got a bit of a mix up and we weren't going to be sitting together. So he's like, looked at the seats and went, no, we're sitting together. Anyway, we go into the lounge and we do our thing and have a look around duty free and don't buy anything, but just okay, time to board now. We start boarding the plane and Brian passes me my ticket and I said, what number are we? And he said, C.
25 C and D.
Yeah, so 25 C and D.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Go on.
No, go on.
I was going to say you can board, I think, a little bit sooner, can't you?
Well, I don't know, because we pushed forward, didn't we?
Well, we just there's 3 queues, wasn't there, with different numbers and things, and we just went to the shortest one.
I say we pushed forward. We didn't. We just went to the shortest one, didn't we? Oh, I'll tell you what though, Bri.
What?
That was funny about that guy that was shouting from the back saying, I'm first class, and they wouldn't let him through.
Yeah, but we were in that queue and they moved the thing over and put the thing, because the priority ones are supposed to go through first, aren't we? Yeah, as a business class and first class and all that.
Yeah.
And he was just standing there, wasn't he? Oi, excuse me. Hello.
And they wouldn't let him through because they were putting all the others through. And I said to Ryan, how annoyed would you be if you'd paid like $50 million to be on first class and
I know.
you weren't even being allowed through? Anyway, so we go through, and you know when you walk down the gangplank thing, not gangplank, but you know that thing where
The gantry
the
thing,
tunnel,
whatever
yeah.
it's called.
And they're waiting, aren't they, at the door and like, good morning, and like, what's your seat number, please? And you could go left to first class and then right to like, you know, Scumsville sort of thing. And we said, oh, we're C20 and 25. And it was the first seat in premium economy.
It was premium economy. Leg rests and all, wasn't it?
It was. Because you have like that little area, don't you, where there's about 5 rows of premium economy, and then you go through the blue curtain, and that's when
To
you're
extra
in.
Scumsville. Yeah, where we normally live.
It's where we normally fly. Is extra Scumsville
Yeah.
down the back. Yeah.
By the toilet.
And I was looking at my seat and I said to Bri, well, this can't be right, because there was 3. I don't know if you've ever flown premium economy. We've never done that. And it was like 3 big couches, wasn't it, Bri? Big armchairs.
Yeah, it was. Instead of your normal 4 in the middle or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There was only 3. They were slightly wider, bigger, loads. I mean, I couldn't even put my feet up onto the wall.
No.
And you've got one of those little monitors that come out, which are a bit shit, really.
Why?
They just are. People get banging into it.
What? Oh, okay. So anyway, I thought it was wonderful, and it was like this big seat. But we sat there, and I said to Brian, "Don't take your shoes off. Don't settle down." I said, "We're obviously in the wrong seats." I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I've never
My
seen.
dream was coming true.
I've never seen Liz looking so nervous. She made me get the boarding pass out about 6 times.
Yeah.
Are they our
Check the
seats?
tickets.
Are you sure it's not 225? And it's like, no, it's 25.
And everyone that came through, because you've got to walk through that bit, haven't you, to get to the end of the plane? And everyone that walked through looked at us as if like, oh,
You've got more money than me.
you? You're doing all right.
Look at my ticket. Oh, see you.
And I just felt like such an imposter because they didn't even tell us. They didn't say, oh, we've upgraded you or whatever. Here we are sitting in these really flash seats. I was so annoyed that it wasn't the flight to New Zealand.
Yeah,
it was
I know.
only
The 12-hour
flight to
flight.
China.
It was the 3-hour flight to China, wasn't it?
Oh, it was bliss. It was that we had leg rests. They'd come up, and these really comfy things that came out of the ears. You know
that came out your ears. Yeah.
No, but they came out
the
to
flaps
rest.
at the side that stop your head from rolling. Yeah.
Oh, it was bliss. It was just fantastic. But all the time I was just thinking, there you go, Liz. You've manifested this.
Yep.
You've made it happen.
You've done it.
But actually I wasn't, because I was just thinking, who's going to come and shift me?
There's fors and against for sitting in those front seats, you know.
Why?
Because, you know, you like to, you know, when you're just sitting there, you can see what's going on, or you can. This one had a camera on the tail plane, didn't it? So you could see the whole thing. But so you're watching that and stuff, and then it's like, oh, excuse me, can you put your screen away, please? Because we're taking off in the next half an hour.
Yeah,
Well,
true.
when we start rolling, I'll take it off. But it's like, no, you've got to do it now. Seats up in the right position. And it's just like, it's way before you're even taxiing, like, you know?
Yeah.
And it was just things like that. Because I remember watching part of the film, it's just like, can you put that down now? We're not landing for another 40 minutes.
Poor you.
So
did you not like being in premium economy?
I did.
Then,
I loved the
Bri?
space. I really did. But sometimes I used to think it was always the best place to sit was by the emergency exits and the front row.
We were right in the front. Like literally, if we'd have just put our hand around the curtain, we could have just popped ourselves out the door. Really, couldn't we?
Yeah,
we were bang in the front of the you know,
before the wing.
Yeah,
not where the
it was.
Scumsville.
And personally, I thought it was fantastic. I really did. I just
did like it.
couldn't believe it. So that was that. Anyway, we're on the flight, and it's 2.5 hours goes by, or 3 hours, or whatever it was. And they told Bri to put his tray away. They said, you know, can you put your screen away now, because we're landing in a couple of hours. So just put that away now. And we were landing in like 15 minutes. We put our tray away, And we're all set for landing. You know what it's like. Oh, you're a little bit nervous, aren't you? You're going to land in China now. Okay, set yourself up then. Hope he lands safely and all the rest of it. And I hope you've got your seatbelt on properly. I'm always a bit nervous. Are you, Bri, when landing?
I was, but do you know what? We were flying. What was it? China Southern. Okay, and if you go with them, you get a security officer. And we were sitting next to the security officer, and he was super chilled. He had his feet up on the wall and all sorts.
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
What sort of security officer puts the feet on the wall?
He had his headphones on and watching his TV thing, and you're just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was sat right next to us. Why do you think he had a security officer on there?
They just have like a security guy in case anyone kicks off.
Well, here's the thing, and this is where it didn't work. So we're all set. We're all set to land. Oh, yeah, all landing, good. So the plane lands, everything's fine. Now, within, I'm not joking, 10 milliseconds of a second that the wheels touch the concrete, we hear all these people behind us, don't we, Brian?
From Scumsville.
From Scumsville, further back.
Barging through the curtain.
Barging through our security curtain, our private little cocoon of loveliness and expensiveness, actually, barging through to the front of the plane while the wheels had only just touched on the
tarmac,
concrete.
or whatever it is, yeah.
And you know what? They were all Kiwis, weren't they, Bri? They were. I hate to say it. I could hear their accent. Kiwis, Australians maybe, and Brits.
Yeah.
Weren't they, Bri?
I've never seen anything like it. Must have been still doing well over 100 mile an hour. And we literally, as Liz said, it's bump, bump, and the nose goes down. And next minute you could hear click, 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 click. And they were running. With their bags to the front of the plane.
And the lady at the front, the air hostess.
Because they're right next to us, the air hostess.
Sitting in their little chair. They sit in their little chair ready for landing.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. They were like, and she
went mad, didn't she?
She did, but she was super calm, as if she didn't want to upset anyone. But she's like, please get back in your seats.
I say she, yeah, you're right.
Straight on the little phone.
Yeah.
Obviously talking to the pilot, saying there's people running up.
Sit down. Now is not the time. Sit down. Go back to your seat.
We're still taxiing.
Yeah, we're still taxiing. They're very dangerous. Sit back down in your seat. They weren't having any of it. They just went to the front of the thing. And it was like there had been a fire at the back of the plane and they were escaping a fire. That's what it felt like. It was like, what's going on? And we started to like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And then we heard someone say, we've got a connecting plane to catch and we need to hurry up.
Like you can't get off any quicker though, can you?
Yeah.
But where were they going? Where did they think they were going?
I don't know. But now we're in our little cocoon of loveliness is just filled with people, all queuing up with their bags on their shoulder. Yeah, it was. Ramming it in our face, all pushing to the front of the plane.
Yeah.
And the air hostess and the staff and the steward, I don't know if that's still the right name, air hostess. It's the air cabin crew, cabin staff.
Were
saying, but I don't know how.
I know you're not allowed to say hostess or steward
whatever.
or
But anyway, they were all
anymore,
saying, sit down, and they just they were not having any of it. They would not budge.
They were standing in the galley, the first class galley.
Anyway, then the guy gets up. They'd push themselves through to the first
come
class.
Right back around, yeah.
And the guy gets up, doesn't he?
Well, the security guy woke up. And he looked at everything going on. And he was just like, and you know what? I think I made it worse. I just looked at him and I went, because he could speak English. He's a Chinese guy. And I just went, I've never seen anything like that of you. And he went, no, and he jumped up.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Yeah. I think the way you were looking at him as well, Bri, was almost like, what? Aren't you going to do something about this?
Get your gun out, mate.
Because to be honest, it was a bit frightening because I don't know, you like going zooming along a runway. I don't know why it was frightening.
If you were just taxiing,
dramatic, maybe.
It wouldn't have been so bad, but because literally clunk, clunk and the nose going down, it was the speed we were going. If something had happened or the wheel had jammed up or, I don't know, something had happened, they would have gone flipping, they probably would have broken bones and all sorts.
Yeah. But anyway, so the guy gets up and he starts shouting in Chinese. He said his English.
Get back in your seats.
Get back in your seats now. And no one moved.
Yeah.
All the Kiwis just stood there saying nothing. And I could hear this British woman kicking off at the front saying, "Don't tell us to get back. We've got a plane.
You've made us late.
Yeah, you've made us late. We've got a plane to catch, and we're not going to make it." Anyway, I'm embarrassed to tell you this, but me and Brian are just sitting there going, "Wouldn't you think they'd know better than that?" Like, or being all self-righteous, you know, when you're like, that's not something we would ever do, is it, Brian?
No, we were never in a rush.
Why don't people just play by the rules and just do what they're told and all stuff like this, you know? And anyway, so the doors open. These people rush off the plane, obviously. Yeah. And me and Brian are getting our bags because we're right at the front of the plane. We say, well, we're off first anyway, because like I told you, we're right by the door.
Yeah.
So we get our bags all leisurely, don't we, Brian? Oh, aren't some people? You wouldn't think it with Kiwis.
Yeah, but we were just quite smug because we had a 2-hour layover.
Yes, we were smug. And that makes it worse because we were like, people should just allow for enough time.
Yeah.
That's just bad planning on their part.
Yeah. We didn't have to collect bags or anything, did we? It was just like, the bags were going on, weren't they? It's just like, we were just like, yeah, we're cool.
Yeah.
We're sweet.
We are. We just thought we were so clever at this point because we were like, well, look at us. Look what brilliant travel planners
We're relaxed
we are.
after our Thailand trip.
Well, we don't do stress. So we get off the plane and we get our little hand luggage and we're walking along. And I said to Brian, just have a look you know what it's like. You look at the big screen, don't you, when you get in? We're meandering over to the screen flights. And look at us, all relaxed. Anyway, we're looking up and this woman in a suit comes up to us, doesn't she?
Yeah, in an airport suit.
In an airport suit. And she said, "Where are you going?" And Brian said, "Auckland." And I'm not joking. She just nearly bust a gut. Blew a fuse.
She had some little green stickers.
Yeah.
And she slapped one on my shoulder, slapped one on your shoulder, and
said,
hard. "You need to run now." And she started running, didn't she?
She ran away from us and was going like this.
It's like some kind of a dream, wasn't it?
Auckland.
20 minutes, flight takes off.
You miss your flight. Hurry. And she's screaming at us. Yeah. And we were like, what's going on?
It's a huge airport.
It's a huge airport.
It's a huge airport. It's, I can't remember the name of it, Gungazo or something like that. Gangazo?
Yeah.
Something like that, isn't it? It's a big airport. And in the distance, along about 6 conveyor belts, was the team of Kiwis. Team Kiwi. Obviously, the Olympics at the airport. They could have run for the plane.
Yeah. So what we hadn't realised, because we hadn't bothered to check our tickets.
No, we've been so delayed back in Bangkok.
Yeah, we were just cruising.
We were delayed about 50 minutes or so, but we didn't realise that it had impacted on the flight time getting over and how long it actually took for the plane to taxi in.
Yeah. So unbeknown to us, the flight that the Kiwis were trying to get on at the front of the plane was our flight also. So we should have been at the front kicking off,
if
kicking
I'd known
people
that,
out of
I'd have been
first
pushing
class.
them back.
We would. Anyway, so she starts running and it's a massive airport, but there was no one around. There was no one to ask, what's going on? Excuse me, what? And I said to Brian, maybe there's 2 flights to Auckland.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, maybe
there was one at midnight and one at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
It was late, wasn't it? Like, but you don't know what time it is when you've been travelling because we didn't leave till, I don't know, what was it, 9:00 or something?
We went through all the security. They were pushing us through. You know, like normally where you come to get your bags checked and they're really thorough and they really check you. They were literally just pushing us through, weren't they? And the first thing they said, Auckland. And we were like, yes, Auckland. Go.
Yeah, if you could have seen it, the guy who was checking passports, because there was a delay on one of the bags, he jumped onto the other X-ray machine and was doing that. And then someone was waiting. Obviously, we need to go to Auckland as well. So he's then jumping back. It was like something.
It was so intense. Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you.
And we still, after security checks, which I never understand on connecting flights. I really don't, because you're on a bloody plane and you haven't been anywhere. Yeah. So what's going to be in your bag that can't be in there?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like,
But it was just this hyper tense, everyone, and I'm not joking here, I'm not exaggerating. Everyone we came to saw the sticker on our T-shirt and started screaming at us. And was screaming at us, go, as if we'd done something wrong. Like, like we were... we were just holding up the whole world because we weren't on that flight.
I know, and it was still 15 minutes from security because it was a gate, I don't know, 86 or something like, you know.
Oh, we were running. I'm not joking. You could have followed the trail of wee from where I was to where we needed to go. Because
I've never
my
seen
pelvic floor isn't the strongest. And I was so nervous and I was so panicky that I was just literally just running and weeing at the same time till I got the flight.
I've never seen Liz move so quick. I mean,
oh, I hated it.
yeah, my, you know, you're only supposed to have 7 kg backpacks, but mine must have been about 18 kgs because it had laptops and all big laptops as well, and speakers and microphones and God knows what that we travel with, like, you know, for doing podcasting and things. And my backpack was just bouncing so heavily.
Oh,
but
it
you
was
were just like
horrible. I thought you were
going
going to have
ahead
a
of
heart
me.
attack. Well, I did because that's what I mean. And I wouldn't normally go ahead of you, but they were screaming at me so much that it was almost like, you know, if someone like tricks you and goes, guess what, something really bad's going to happen. And they wind you up and wind you up and wind you up and keep shouting at you until you really start to believe. You don't have time to question, hang on a minute, so just tell me what's going on here. Yeah. Instead, you're caught up in all this angst and stress and like run, you know, just like... Yeah. Anyway, we get on the plane and...
Yeah, but do you know, before we could see the gate, couldn't we? Because it was like in the distance and we had probably another 2 or 3 conveyor belts to run along.
Yeah.
And she was waving at us going, Auckland.
Yeah.
And you're
Run!
like, jeez, keep going because the gate is closing. The gate is closing. And you're just like, oh...
And I was just thinking in my mind, you know, what if we miss this, we're in China, our bags are on their way to New Zealand, we haven't got any of our stuff. Well, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? We just have to, they'll put us up in a hotel. So really, realistically, what was the big deal? Because, all right, it would have been inconvenient to miss the flight.
I know,
but
it wasn't the end of the world for us, though,
I know,
was it?
why did we get so caught up in that? Anyway, so we get on the plane and...
But this is the stupid part, isn't it, on the plane? Well, you say your bit, but it's just...
Before we talk about the other Kiwis sitting there, I get on the plane and thankfully, I mean, if you work for China Air, Southern Air Man, and you are the one that was the steward on that plane,
lovely, wasn't he?
I just want to say that I love you and you are just gorgeous because... Thankfully, we passed a couple of women and they were like, go, ticket, get on, like, you know, just jump, get on the plane and sit down. And he was stood there and he looked at me and he must have known. And he went, are you okay, ma'am? And I said, I need the bathroom, thinking they were going to say, no, you can't go to the bathroom, we're taking off. And I just said, I need the bathroom. And he went, of course, take your time, go in the bathroom, and that's what he said to me.
But this was at the front of the plane as well,
At the front of the plane, we'd only just got on. He said, take your time. Anyway, I went in the bathroom and I just burst out crying. I just sobbed, Brian. I did. My heart was just going, and I don't know if it was the,
Probably
I know.
the adrenaline.
Yeah, the adrenaline. And I just burst out crying. I was just like, what was that all about? What the hell was that all about? What is going on here, you know?
And
it was horrible.
This was the crazy part is we obviously you come in with a premium economy in it, and half the plane was empty, wasn't it?
I know.
It wasn't even a full plane. It was literally half empty.
Bummer that we weren't upgraded
and I said,
on that.
is it
flight.
all right if I sit here? And she went, no.
No,
I should
you're not
have
allowed.
just sat there because we were like bright red faces, soaking wet. With
Wet
sweat.
knickers.
Yeah, all over the place. Yeah. So we went to obviously to the where the Scumsville is, where we normally go. And I didn't say anything there. I just sat on the front row.
Yeah, we did. We did.
And that lovely steward that you're talking about, the other one said, "What are they doing there?"
Yeah.
And he went, he shook his
just
head,
leave
didn't
them.
he? Just
Yeah.
leave them.
I think he could see that I'd been crying my eyes out, and I honestly think he just thought, oh,
what we've just put them through.
Yeah, I'm not dealing with this. Yeah. So we did. We're not in the premium economy, but we sat in that seat, you know, the one at the front where you have to do emergency. Yeah, so you get a bit more leg room. Actually, it ended up being probably the worst seat because people kept going in front of us and to go to the toilet. But yeah, anyway, we got on and we looked behind us and there's all the Kiwis. That had been brave enough to stand up and get out first. Just sitting there, smug, weren't they, Brian?
Yeah, smug as if like, we made it all right.
Yeah.
But that's what the stupid part about it was now. Now we obviously had to wait on the tarmac for nearly 45 minutes as they got the bags from the other plane.
Yeah.
That's how
So
ridiculous
all
it
that,
was. All that was just ridiculous, wasn't
and
it?
I could hear the guy behind us. There was a couple of rows behind us, the Kiwi guy, and he was about, I don't know, he was about 80, like, you know, he was in his early 80s.
I tell you, he didn't even have to reach up to get his bag out. He was that tall.
Was he?
He was a big,
Yeah,
big guy, a tall guy.
Yeah,
like,
I only heard his voice, and I just looked behind briefly, but I could hear him saying they shouldn't be putting us through that. Like, you know, they should have had a cart waiting at
they should have done.
at the gate.
I think a Ferrari would have been better.
Yeah, just to take us. So anyway, that was our story, and I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. It was just so. We went from being super chilled. And there we are in premium and economy, being all smug, like look at us, to just having a heart attack almost running through that airport. And then just getting on the plane, and it was. So that was the story about getting back to New Zealand.
At least when they brought the drinks trolley around, they gave us an extra large wine.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she meant to give us a large wine.
No, it almost like glugged out, didn't it?
It did.
Excuse me.
She did.
Because it's normally about that much, isn't it?
Yeah, she was pouring my red wine, and someone banged into her elbow, and it just went like that with a bottle, and it just like emptied all the bottle almost into the cup. And
Probably the guy getting his monitor out and hit her.
She said, "I'm so sorry, this is so full." And Brian was like, "Just give it to me and ask for another." Never needed to drink so much in all my life.
I know. Yeah.
So yeah, that was our trip to.
I tell you what though, China Southern Air, bloody good airline.
I thought you said you weren't going to fly with them again. You said you hated the food.
Oh, the food was a bit crap, but it's still a good airline.
What was good about them?
Oh, all the planes were nice and new.
Yeah, I know, but
it was good.
They made us have a heart attack by making us rush.
Yeah, but that was the airport.
Their food was rubbish going over to China. It was brilliant, the food.
Yeah, because
and we
from
spoke
Auckland,
about
wasn't
that.
it? Yeah.
But coming back, I've never. It was horrible.
They said, what was it? You want chicken noodles or would you like fish and rice? So we said, chicken noodles, and it wasn't noodles; it was pasta.
Yeah, it was.
It's like, come on, with this. Yeah, it was. It was like stepping back in probably 25 years, maybe 30 years in airport food technology, and it was pretty dire. We
got back and we got in our car at Auckland and we just drove back down. And do you know what we did? We stopped in a little town halfway between Auckland and New Plymouth, and we had the best fish and chips.
It was great, wasn't
it? Gluten-free fish and chips. And it was just like we went to Countdown and we got ourselves a couple of drinks, you know, kombucha thing or ginger beer or whatever it was.
It was a ginger beer, yeah.
And we just
ginger beer.
and we just stood there, and it was the stars were out, and we just stood at we found ourselves a little place, a little bench thing outside the fish and chip shop, and we just opened our fish and chips, had our ginger beer, and it was just the best. It was so good.
It was welcome home. It was.
Welcome
we still
back
had
to
a 5-hour drive, and we got in about 4:30 or something, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And watch that Auckland Airport car park north. Charged me $300 extra.
Why?
Thanks. I don't know. I still haven't got heard back from them yet.
Really?
Yeah.
So you booked your flight?
I booked my things, $280 for the month away, and thinking, oh well, that's good, and that's why we drove, because it ended up being cheaper than 2 flights from New Plymouth. I'll buy probably $200, and on the way out, presented the card and no data found. Presented it again, and then it just went bump, and then it came through on my watch. Oh, it just charged another $300.
Get that back.
Yeah,
get that back.
Thanks, Auckland car parking.
Yeah,
or whatever
it's probably
called.
probably just a mistake, but just get that back.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah. And anyway, it was also what I was meaning to tell you, or just get you away from that negativity. Mm-hmm. Best fish and chips we've ever had.
Yep.
Leave us a comment or send us an email, Liz at It's a Drama, Brian at It's a Drama, saying what your worst rush was on an airport. Because I know there's lots of stories like that, just about things that happen, like you either... I don't know, sometimes people lose their bags or get upgraded because of they've been treated badly, but always love hearing stories about just airport trips. I'm really interested in them.
Well, do you know what? Whatever gets me is you say you're on just a normal flight, you're not connecting and this, that and the other. And these people, you do hear the plane land and click, 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 and you're not supposed to take your seatbelt off. And literally as soon as it's pulled up, even before you're supposed to stand up, they're up, they're getting their bags out, and then you meet them at the carousel.
I know.
So what are you doing?
I know.
Yeah. I'm not just talking like the little flights. I'm talking, you've got to get your bags.
Not everyone's as chilled as us, though, Bri. I mean, we've just professional travellers that always check our tickets. Yeah. We always know when our connecting flights are just about to leave.
Yeah. And that there was a little lady getting off at Auckland that's the one we were supposed to be sitting next to. And I stood up and got my bag out, and we're all just waiting there. And I can just feel this case pushing past me.
Pushing in your knees?
Yeah, pushing past my knees. And you're like, where are you going? The door isn't even open yet.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for you to stand up. And then next minute, her arm comes around. And then next minute, she's pushing me to the side. She didn't even say, excuse me. And now she's standing in front of me. And you're like, what's all that about?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Should have just tapped her on the head like this, just knocked her on the head like a little boiled egg.
And then we get out.
Back.
We're onto the gantry, where you're walking back into the airport.
Yeah.
And she stops and get her phone out.
Oh.
It's like, hello.
Yeah. Didn't make you feel very nice, did it,
People
Brian?
just are a bit weird in queue situations, aren't they? Dread to think what they'd be like if it was an actual accident.
Yeah, I know. Well, let's not go down that route right now.
Yeah,
we're just leaving on a high.
Yeah. Off on a plane trip tomorrow, are you?
Don't forget as well, if you haven't signed up for my free weekly newsletter, my Front Row newsletter, where I tell you all the behind the scenes stuff about what's going on in life. And it's very honest and very real and very free. So if you want to sign up for that you can go to it'sadrama.com/front row.
And don't forget to tell them about our NZAhead podcast as well. Liz.
Oh, yeah. So if you're particularly interested in New Zealand, if you're moving to New Zealand, or even if you're just coming over here and you want to know more about New Zealand. In fact, we have a lot of people whose kids live over here, older people whose family live in New Zealand, and they just want to know more about New Zealand. Yeah. We have another podcast called NZAhead, where we talk all about moving to New Zealand and just what life is like in New Zealand. That's really New Zealand focused.
Yeah, and you can actually get over to New Zealand and meet the mud flyers.
What's the... Oh, yeah, exactly. I tell you what, you put it down to... I've always said with the Kiwis, oh, yeah, they won't kick up, they won't cause any trouble, they're very laid back, they don't like to make trouble. I'll take that back.
But they're tight asses, Liz, and they didn't want to miss that flight.
Do you reckon that's what it is?
Yeah.
I think you're
definitely.
right. I think you're
didn't
right.
want to be stranded in China.
When it comes...
Branded a fool.
Yeah, well, exactly. When it comes to the push comes to shove, they won't be shoved.
Yeah.
They'll only be pushed.
Yeah. To the front.
Okay, we're going to say goodbye for now. And thank you so much for joining us this week and for being with us. It's always such a pleasure to have you. And thank you for all the lovely reviews that you've left us. And just the emails and the comments. We adore you. We absolutely love you. You're just the best. We appreciate you so, so much. So until next time, please know that my heart beats with yours. I will speak to you soon. Until next time.
Yeah, so kia kaha, stay strong, kia u, stay true. And we'll see you on the next flight.
Okay.
See you now.
Bye.
Bye.
Taranaki in New Zealand has been voted the second best region in the world to live. Apparently this region is the sunniest, there's loads to do and everything's brilliant. But how true is that? It seemed really like dead, and it was just like, and it was grey and rainy and the beach was black, and it was like, I don't like it, I really don't like it. In this week's episode, we're going to jump in and give you 8 pros and cons of what life is like living in the region of Taranaki.